about what we can expect into the future. We are offering this program in English, Italian, and Spanish. So I invite you to use the interpretation feature so that you can choose the language that you prefer. On a computer, you can find that on the bottom right of your screen. There should be a little globe you can click onto and choose your language. If you're on a phone or tablet, there should be the word more with 3 dots, and you can include the language there that you would like to use. My name is Marianne Comfort. I'm based in the United States, and I'm very privileged to be the co-chair of the Global Membership Council of our movement. The council is made up of some of our member organizations, chapters, circles, and Laudato Si groups. And we've had the privilege often of sharing with one another what we're involved in and hearing from the staff updates of our movement. And this is a time for us to give you that opportunity to hear from all the different things that are happening around the world. So we are going to offer a program. It'll be about 70 minutes. And we're going to start with a celebration of all that we did in the season of creation. We're going to have a couple of readings, reflection, and then some sharing of all the activities that happened in our movement with some examples from Italy, Argentina, and the Philippines. And then we're going to finish up very importantly with some updates from our staff about what we can look forward to in the coming weeks and months. So as we always do, we are going to start in prayer. And I invite Doris Mir Vasconcelos to join us.
Buenos días, paz y bien. Hoy más que nunca, necesitamos una nueva solidaridad universal. Se necesitan los talentos y la implicación de todos para colaborar como instrumentos de Dios en el cuidado de la creación. Cada uno desde su cultura, experiencia, iniciativa y capacidades. Que nos reunamos en nombre del Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. Te alabamos, Padre, con todas tus criaturas, que salieron de tu mano poderosa, son tuyas y están llenas de tu presencia y de tu ternura. Alabado sea, Hijo de Dios Jesús. Por ti fueron creadas todas las cosas. Te formaste en el seno materno de María. Te hiciste parte de esta tierra y miraste este mundo con ojos humanos. Hoy estás vivo en cada criatura con tu gloria de resucitado. Alabado seas. Espíritu Santo, que con tu luz orienta este mundo hacia el amor del Padre y acompañas el gemido de la creación. Tú vives también en nuestros corazones para impulsionarnos al bien. Alabado sea. Señor, uno y trino, comunidad preciosa de amor infinito, enseñarnos a contemplarte en la belleza del universo, donde todo nos habla de ti. Despierta nuestras alabanzas y nuestras gratitud por cada ser que has creado. Danos la gracia de sentirnos íntimamente unidos con todo lo que existe. Dios de amor, muéstranos nuestro lugar en este mundo como instrumento de tu cariño por todos los seres de esta tierra, porque ninguno de ellos está olvidado ante ti. Ilumina a los dueños del poder y del dinero, para que no se guarden del pecado de la indiferencia. Amem el bien común, promuevan a los débiles y cuiden este mundo que habitamos. Los pobres y la tierra están clamando, Señor, tómanos a nosotros con tu poder y tu luz, para proteger toda vida, para preparar um futuro mejor, para que venga tu reino de justiça, de paz, de amor e de hermosura. Alabado seja. Amém. Axé, Auerê, Saúde.
Amen. Thank you so much, Doris. Very grateful for you sharing that beautiful prayer. And we're coming together we're coming together just a few weeks after the end of the season of creation. And we were invited at that time to listen to the creation. And it didn't take a lot of careful listening. Creation was crying out loud and clear. We saw the droughts in Somalia, terrible flooding in Nigeria and Pakistan, superstorms in the United States, and of course, the continued destruction in the Amazon, particularly in Brazil, with the wildfires that are destroying that critical ecosystem. So we'd love you to reflect on what cries of creation are you hearing in your region? And we can use the chat to do that, give you a moment to just reflect on the cries of creation that Doris mentioned in her prayer and that we're seeing around the world. Thank you for all that sharing. I'm not able to see the chat as I'm sharing my screen, but I can see on my other screen here that there's lots of sharings coming in and all different languages, which is beautiful. It shows the diversity of our movement. So thank you so much for that. We're going to continue with our looking back at the season of creation with a reading that was very familiar to us from that time. And I'm going to invite Sister Immaculate Tusingwiri to share with us the reading from Exodus.
A reading from the book of Exodus. Moses was tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. Leading the flock beyond the wilderness, he came to the mountain of God, Horeb. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him as fire flaming out of a bush. When he looked, although the bush was on fire, it was not being consumed. So Moses decided, I must turn aside to look at this remarkable sight. Why does the bush not burn up? When the Lord saw that he had turned aside to look, God called out to him from the bush, Moses, Moses. He answered, Here I am. God said, Do not come near. Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. I am the God of your father, he continued. the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. But the Lord said, I have witnessed the affliction of my people in Egypt and have heard their cry against their taskmasters. So I know well that they are suffering. Therefore, I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them up from that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, indeed, the outcry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen how the Egyptians are oppressing them. Now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. The word of the Lord.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Sister
Lord.
Immaculate, bringing us back into this important reading from the season of creation, and that, again, listening to the voice of creation, the cry of creation. And I'm going to invite Anne-Marie Brennan, who's with the Christian Life Community, and she's based in the United States, and she's going to share a brief reading from Laudato Si.
I urgently appeal then for a new dialogue about how we are shaping the future of our planet. We need a conversation which includes everyone, since the environmental challenge we are undergoing and its human roots concern and affect us all. Obstructionist attitudes, even on the part of believers, can range from denial of the problem to indifference, nonchalant resignation, or blind confidence in technical solutions. We require a new and universal solidarity. As the bishops of Southern Africa have stated, everyone's talents and involvement are needed to redress the damage caused by human abuse of God's creation. All of us can cooperate as instruments of God for the care of creation, each according to his or her own culture, experience, involvement, and talents.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Grateful for that. We're next going to have a reflection on the season of creation and moving into this time of recreation. Our friend Alirio Casares Aguirre from Colombia, a permanent deacon and eco-theologian, was very generous in preparing a video reflection for us. And we hold him and his family in prayer as they celebrate the life of an aunt and attend her funeral as we're gathered here today.
Hola, hola, un saludo de paz y bien en el inmenso amor de Dios. Hemos terminado el tiempo de la creación y comienza el tiempo de la recreación, de la renovación. El Espíritu Santo renueva la faz de la tierra y renueva nuestros corazones. Vamos a realizar una pequeña meditación, una reflexión basada en el texto de Éxodo 3, haciendo un paralelo entre el recorrido que hace Moisés y el itinerario que hacemos nosotros como movimiento Laudato Si. Venimos caminando en compañía. Es un recorrido sinodal, tanto en el texto bíblico como en este tiempo. Hay un antes, un durante y un después. Nosotros hemos recorrido del 1 de septiembre al 4 de octubre el tiempo de la creación para escuchar la voz del Creador en sus criaturas. Ahora transitamos 40 días de oración por la plataforma de acción Laudato Si, de manera que podamos comprender en esencia, en profundidad, la misión que tenemos de encarnar la ecología integral a través de esos 7 objetivos Laudato Si, del 4 de octubre al 14 de septiembre, de noviembre. Recordemos que el 13 de noviembre es la Jornada Mundial de los Pobres. Y en misericordia con nuestra pobre hermana Madre Tierra, nos disponemos a celebrar después la fiesta de Cristo Rey del universo. Desde la humildad, desde la reverencia, podemos alabar a nuestro Redentor. Moisés también tuvo un antes, un durante y un después. Moisés estaba realizando sus labores cotidianas, estaba pastoreando el rebaño de su suegro Jetro, atravesaba el desierto. Hoy en día también tenemos un creciente desierto en nuestro planeta azul, pero Moisés se atrevió a ir un poquito más allá de lo acostumbrado. En sinodalidad ecológica, preguntémonos qué es aquello que rompe la rutina, que rompe la monotonía y propicia el encuentro con el Dios yo soy. Y al encontrarnos, la imagen de la zarza ardiendo nos recuerda el calentamiento global, la grave emergencia climática, pero también nos recuerda que para Dios no hay nada imposible y que en esa zarza que no se consume está el fuego del Espíritu Santo, el fuego que aparecerá en Pentecostés superando la torre de Babel, el fuego de la comunión, el fuego de la paz, el fuego que aleja cualquier miedo, que purifica. Y ante esa presencia de la divinidad, el reconocer que este planeta en llamas es tierra sagrada, es tierra santa, tenemos que postrarnos, que arrodillarnos, que descalzarnos y entrar en contacto humildemente con el humus. Y ahora vamos a la misión. Después del encuentro con el Señor, tenemos que preguntarnos quiénes son los faraones de hoy que atentan contra la vida e impiden la liberación. ¿Hacia quién nos está llamando el Señor en medio de nuestro titubeo, de nuestra tartamudez, de nuestras timideces, sintiéndonos tal vez pequeños y pequeñas? Pues bien, ahí está la misión. Cuando termina el tiempo de la creación, cuando ya hemos escuchado la voz de las criaturas, ahora tenemos que proclamar con nuestra voz que hay un jubileo, que hay la posibilidad de la libertad y de la plenitud de la vida en una tierra que emana leche y miel y en donde los niños y las niñas podrán vestirse dignamente y las mujeres tendrán la labor de transformar ese estilo de vida, tal como relata al final el texto de Éxodo 3. Frente a este paradigma tecnoeconómico, frente a esos faraones contemporáneos, para aquellos que causan la emergencia climática, para aquellos que están a la base del egoísmo, de la envidia, de la codicia, de la vanidad, para aquellos que están generando esta cultura del descarte, va nuestra misión profética y que como árbol del movimiento Laudato Si, seamos capaces de fecundar un bosque de muchas relaciones, en donde no solamente caminemos, sino que laudatosifiquemos, que fraternituticemos, que evangelicemos polinizando como un colibrí, gotita a gotica, para apagar el fuego de nuestros bosques, de nuestros paisajes, de nuestros ecosistemas, pero también apagar ese fuego del odio, del rencor, de la guerra y la violencia que está a punto de consumir a la humanidad. Pues queridos hermanos, queridas hermanas, fratelli tutti, caminemos cantando Laudato Si, con la alegría del Evangelio, al ritmo de la sinodalidad en Episcopalis Comuni, en nuestra querida casa común, que ha de tornarse en un hogar común. Encendemos entonces la llama de la esperanza que María, la de los navegantes, la del camino, nos acompañe en este peregrinaje para que podamos volvernos también nosotros como unos cirios, unas luces, que nuestro testimonio cotidiano, nuestro estilo de vida, nos permita anunciar ese tiempo de la recreación. Paz y bien y santa alegría.
So we thank Illyrio for the reflection. Just beautiful words calling us into this time of recreation and caring for our common home. So we've had some prayer together, some reflection, and now, as we always do, out of that prayer and reflection, we turn to action. What are we called to do? So we're going to have some sharing from some different parts of our movement around the world, and we're going to start in Italy with Sister Maria Lucia. I invite you to join us.
Ciao a tutti. Sì, due paroline per spiegare che il video che vedremo racconta durante il tempo della Laudato Si. Quest'anno abbiamo avuto un incremento della partecipazione dei vescovi, è stato molto bello. Si sono moltiplicati gli eventi che si sono realizzati e poi durante il tempo del creato abbiamo avuto la scuola animatore che ha avuto una buona partecipazione. Adesso buona visione, vediamo il filmato.
So I hope you enjoyed that little snippet of the things that were happening in Italy. We're going to put in the chat the link to the video so you can watch it all and see a lot more of activities that were happening in Italy. Just beautiful work. Thank you so much, Maria Lucia, for all the work that's happening in Italy and for bringing that to us today. We're so grateful. We're next going to move to Argentina. And, well, excuse me. And invite Silvia Alonso to share with us what was happening in Argentina in the season of creation.
¿Escuchan? Bien, bueno,
Sí.
les cuento brevemente. Mi nombre es Silvia Alonso, soy la coordinadora del capítulo Argentina. Tanto durante el tiempo de la creación como antes, durante la semana de Laudato Si, estuvimos visitando en coordinación con los equipos locales y también con el equipo de incidencia del movimiento, que está trabajando fuertemente en el Tratado de No Proliferación de Combustibles Fósiles. Con ellos, como les decía, estuvimos visitando primero la Patagonia, el corazón de Vaca Muerta. Es una de las reservas petrolíferas y de shale gas más importantes del mundo, y lamentablemente nuestro país tiene un relato de explotación y de maximizar la explotación pese la realidad es que si hacemos lo que se dice, no vamos a cumplir con el Acuerdo de París. Lamentablemente, el relato como les decía, el relato ve solo el beneficio económico, pero tenemos que reconocer que durante varios años estuvimos subvencionando la producción de vaca muerta, ya que los costos son muy altos. Esta semana salió un estudio al que tuve acceso donde valoriza todo lo que el gobierno no hace, como ser los impactos sociales, los impactos ambientales, el riesgo de los activos varados y la contaminación. Necesitamos que cada uno de nosotros se involucre en estos temas. Necesitamos que haya mayor transparencia, que sepamos exactamente todo lo que se invierte, quién lo va a pagar, cómo y cuándo. Por otro lado, hablamos de pagar la deuda externa y de crear fuentes de trabajo, pero ya esta semana salió un informe donde dicen que las energías renovables superaron en puestos de trabajo todos los que ocupan las energías fósiles. Mi pregunta es, ¿por qué gastamos miles de millones de dólares en energías fósiles y no gastamos, aunque sea una parte de esa, en promover energías renovables y en mayor eficiencia energética? Miles de litros de químicos contaminantes, millones de litros de agua se consumen en esta actividad. Los llamo a que juntos logremos que esto cambie. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Sylvia, for that call to action and to be asking those questions of our government leaders and of society at large. So we went to Italy, we went to Argentina, and next we are going to the Philippines, where we'll have our friend John Din from the Philippines chapter, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so he can share his, and we welcome you, John.
Hello everybody. Just to share the highlights in the Philippines during the season of creation. In the Philippines, the season of creation begins on September 1, and we extended it until the second Sunday of October. which is the Indigenous People Sunday. And that is because of their important role also in caring for our common home. One of really the big events for the season of creation every year is the Walk for Creation, which started in 2017. There were around 5,000 people participated in that Walk for Creation here in Manila. And then we also have in 2018, in 2019. We all know that 2020 and 2021 we were on the lockdown, but still we were able to do the Walk for Creation online, where we explored the beauty of the Philippines as part of the program in promoting the care for our common home. So 2020 and 2021, the Walk for Creation has been online. And this year, we were very happy in 2022 because we were able to reinitiate again the Walk for Creation, and hopefully we will be able to continue this in the next years. So basically, in the Walk for Creation, we have liturgies, and we started this year with with liturgy followed by an ecumenical celebrations. And then we have a walk around where we bring out the different issues that is faced by the Philippines. Issues on mining, issues against coal, and also issues against now the promotion of the LNG, the fossil gas is almost like a detour from the move away from coal. So this is in this year we started when we started again the Walk for Creation. The program was organized with a ecumenical group. So we have in this picture some of the representative from the Christian groups, other Christian faith in the Philippines, and also our partner organizations. One of the big events that we also launched during the season of creation is the pilgrimage of the Sierra Madre Cross. This is a pilgrimage that started in the month of September and will finish on April Earth Day next year on April 22. So it started in the parish of Our Lady of Remedies in Manila, and then it was then to the University of Santo Tomas, where we really had the big celebration for the launching. Currently, the cross, as I said, is on pilgrimage. That's in the Diocese of Lucena. You can see in the map here, that's what we call the Sierra Madre mountain range. They are the protector of the Philippine island, in particular the island of Luzon, against typhoon. Currently, you may have heard in the news, we are currently battered by a typhoon in the Philippines. The diameter is so big that it covers the whole Philippines. For example, here in Manila now, we are under signal number 3. And there are floods in Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon, which are the 3 main islands in the Philippines. So basically, the pilgrimage also will bring the different issues that's been suffered by the Sierra Madre mountain range. There's the issue of the construction of the Kaliwa Dam, the issue of mining, the issue of quarrying, and the issue also of the indigenous people who have been carrying these Sierra Madre mountain ranges for years and years and years. These are also some of the events that took place during the season of creation. We have the mangroves plantation done in Mindanao. These are the Muslim indigenous groups in the island of Mindanao. And also in the island of Luzon, we were able to join with the Couple for Christ in their tree growing projects. this is, I think, we're very happy to share with you. Since last year, we started taking, making research in the Facebook, how many activities and events have been celebrated in the Philippines. So in 2021, there were 244 celebrations during the season of creation. This year, we have 509. It's the double of the celebrations that we have. So we're very happy that things are moving, and we're hoping that more and more celebrations will take place in the different dioceses and parishes and organization around the Philippines. So just to say, this is the cross that is now on pilgrimage, and we're hoping that this will also help inspire the people to protect our common home. As I said, this will come back into Manila on April 22 for the Earth Day. And we're also praying that the Sierra Madre mountain ranges and all the forests in the Philippines will continue again to flourish and protect the people of the Philippines. We are also doing the signature campaign for the Healthy People, Healthy Planet. And to finish, we would like to ask everybody to pray for us. We are still battered by the heavy rains and floods currently, and particularly in the north of Luzon. But floods has been happening in Mindanao, Luzon, and Visayas. So for more information of the events, you can visit our Facebook page of the Laudato Si Movement Filipinas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And thank you again, Sylvia and Sister Maria Lucia. What a beautiful and powerful display of our movement, both living out what we want to see in the world, the beautiful world we want to see with cleanups and tree plantings, and also pushing back against the destruction that we're experiencing to creation and to our human communities. So I am going to, Lorna, if you don't mind me calling on you, we are very privileged to have Lorna Gold, who is the chair of our Laudato Si movement. And many of you will also know her as one of the stars of the film The Letter. So Lorna, if you wouldn't mind coming on and just saying hi to people, we'd be so grateful.
Hi, Marianne. I wasn't expecting this. I was planning to just stay here in the background. But it's a great joy to be here, truly, to hear of all of these amazing initiatives that are happening all over the world. It really, it just fills me with so much gratitude and so much hope, because we all know this week there's just been so much terrible news about from the scientists on saying we're reaching the precipice of the point of no return. And yet I think all of us who are people of faith have to keep believing that no matter how close we are to that precipice, there is always hope. And that hope is something that we build together. And the testament of everybody here today from every corner of the world. I was just scrolling through, I'm on my phone, so I was scrolling through all of the names. It's truly extraordinary. And I think that we hold tight to that hope, and that hope for us is rooted in a deep belief in God's plan for our beautiful world, and a belief in the resurrection. So I remain united with all of you in living Laudato Si and transforming our world into that future we need in our daily lives. So lovely to be here, and I look forward to hearing the rest. I think you're on mute.
Thank you so much, Lorna, for allowing me to call you out on the spot and invite you to share with us. Thank you very much. So we're now very excited to hear from the Secretariat. about what's coming up in our movement. So Christina, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It is such a delight to be with you all in this first encounter, our whole movement coming together. I'm coming from New York. I serve as the Associate Director, and I'm grateful to be introducing some of my amazing colleagues who are going to be sharing about what's upcoming at LSM. So the first thing, which is not just upcoming, but ongoing, is our film. And to share about our film, we will have Tere Flores Onefre, who is our co-director of movement development, who will share about this. And if you're listening in Spanish or Italian, you can look at the presentation in your language, and I just put the links in the chat. So thank you, Tere.
Thank you, Christina, and thank you everyone for joining from across the world. So excited to be with you all. So I'm gonna share just a few slides. First, if you can move to the next slide, please, Christina. We want to, of course, celebrate so much excitement, more than 8 million. I think this morning is close to 8 or more than 8.5 million. The number of views that the letter has received in a little more than 3 weeks. So much excitement around this film and around this campaign from obviously many Catholics, but also lots of other places, lots of other people. So we want to share, I know a lot of people are kind of asking like, well, what do we do now? And some people are already hosting screenings, which is great, very exciting. Here's our proposed timeline. So please, next slide. And I just want to really caveat this to say this is not meant to be a prescription, but is meant to be like an idea of how we think we can move together. And also, as some of you maybe already have discovered, because of the various languages in which we operate and things like that, the film, some of the versions that are needed are not yet available, and so this is also why we're proposing it. As of now, the community screening version in English is available. So many English-speaking communities have already started hosting community screenings. We're proposing that obviously from now till December, many of you have already participated. We've had over, I believe, over 600 participants in trainings. So we're inviting people to attend trainings. We had a live one on October 19th. We will have more coming up, but also we're going to have these trainings available on demand so that people are able to go on their own, watch the videos on demand, get the information that they need to host these screenings. As many of you probably already know, the goal isn't just to show the film, but to use the film as a tool to activate people around caring for creation, to get more people from our parishes, from our communities, from our dioceses, from across different organizations engaged in caring for creation. So that's why also we're setting up this timeline to allow us time to get prepared on how we do that, to create plans with our circles, with our chapters, with our partner and member organizations on how to best reach people and how to best activate people in a way that's relevant for them. For example, connecting the film to the various campaigns and activities that you all just mentioned in the Philippines, in Argentina, in other places. So yes, for now, again, lots of individual promotion. The other thing we're inviting is regional and national launches. And I'm going to talk in a bit about what that is. Can you actually stay on that other slide, Christina? No, the before that. Yeah. before, yeah. And again, we know that there's a lot of internal community screenings that are already happening, meaning screenings with circles, with chapters. Again, of course, we welcome that. The YouTube version in Spanish, French, and Portuguese was just released yesterday, I believe. So if you haven't yet, feel free to check that out. But the community screenings version, and maybe I'll just speak a little bit on this to differentiate. For the YouTube version, technically people would need a license to show it in public spaces. So if you're going to show it in a parish, in a school, etc., people would need a type of license that depends on each country to show it. And so that's why we have created a community screening version where you will not need that license. So you won't have to worry about any, legal issues, but also paying any fees to screen the film. And this version right now, it's available in English. And we are hoping that by maybe even next week, some of the versions will be available, but really maybe mid-November or later it will be available. And that's why we are inviting those community screenings later. And then high-level events, we understand that they will happen when they are most convenient for the country or the region. Some are already happening, where there's in Ireland, and I'll talk about that, but I know in Ireland there's a presidential screening that's being hosted by the president there. There's lots of other things that, again, I'm going to talk about. So yes, but and also some of this is going to depend working together with the advocacy team on when it might have the most impact in your region, depending on, your region's legislative and political calendar. So yes, next slide, please, Christina. 2 slides, you can go. Yeah. Okay, so we are inviting again and encouraging different regions and chapters to host and work with the Secretariat on hosting regional or national launch events. These events are, we think they can be a way to officially present the film in your region or country and achieve just a wide audience and distribution. Again, we are inviting people to invite key actors such as Episcopal conferences, federations of religious and unions of Catholic education, and to just be a big moment to attract, Catholic and secular media. Next slide, Christina. So some examples, again, I mentioned this earlier, things that are already happening. In Ireland, the presidential event, Brazil this week coming up, the chapter in Peru, I believe, is organizing an event for today. Kenya, there was an event on October 15th. In Thailand, there was a big presentation with the Federation of Asian Bishops Conferences, Australia, the UK, again, and many, many more. But these events are already happening. And so, again, in some of these events, the movie's being screened, and some it's a clip or a trailer, and more of a way to discuss and share about the film itself. Okay, next slide, please. So again, for high-level events, it's more about carrying out the mission based on our theory of change and strengthening relationships with key institutions and actors. In many cases, this is going to be, elected officials. And again, we invite that to be contextualized in just what's happening in your region so that it's a relevant experience. Next slide, please, Christina. So what can you do now? And I see some questions already coming in. If you've missed the trainings, you can register. Well, even if you've attended the training, please register on this link, which I hope someone can help me post in the chat. It's on the Letter Film website, and you can register there, and you will get the materials that you need to start, planning your event, the agenda and a template agenda and others. Again, for languages other than English, because of the community screening version not yet being available, we invite you to schedule them from December on to have enough time to get the community screening version. And again, especially for chapter leaders or for leaders of member organizations, we invite you to collaborate with us in organizing a national launch. And again, we already are supporting such events in other parts in Brazil and Ireland and others. And we invite you to do that in your own place. And again, we have resources available. The first step I would say is go to this link, register, but then also again, work with the organizer in your region to continue supporting this process. So thank you, everybody. We're so excited for this film campaign, and so excited for you to be a part of it.
Great. Thank you so much, Tere. And do you want to just respond to a couple of the other questions since they're relevant to the film that are in the chat?
Sure. Yeah, I didn't know if you want to do that at the end or now.
You can go ahead and
Let's
just answer a couple.
see. So yes, Catherine, yes, please, if you register on here, you will get a link to the community screening version. So no license will be needed. The license is only needed and it might be, that's just gonna depend on each country and case, but to just not worry about that at all, if you register on this link, you will get the screening version, even if you didn't attend the training on the 19th, and you will also get a recording of the training in case you might be helpful for you. Why do we need a license? It's a little technical, but Pedro, and I can answer this in Spanish, so it's clear, but basically it's because of the agreement with YouTube and the contract, but that's why we've created a Spanish community version that we're working on. Entonces, señor Pedro, es un poco técnico, pero básicamente se necesita una licencia por el contrato con YouTube, pero para evitar esto, por eso hemos creado una versión para las proyecciones comunitarias en español. Entonces ya no se va a tener que preocupar por eso, solo hay que esperar un poquito. Y la licencia se necesita por los derechos de autor de la música que están incluidos en la película.
So Tere, we can hopefully have some time after, but if you want to continue to put questions in the chat, our staff will try to respond to those in the chat. So thank you so much, Tere, and we look forward to seeing how we as a movement can continue to use this film to bring about the ecological conversion that we're so committed to. So I'm now going to turn over the floor to Linlin Moma, who is our Director of Advocacy, to share about our upcoming plans in COP27. Linlin?
Thank you, Christina. Yes, so COP is coming up. 2 COPs are coming up at the end of this year. We have COP27, which is starting in about a week from now in Egypt. And we also have COP15, which will be starting on the 7th of December. COP27 is the climate COP that deals with the climate negotiation, trying to make sure that the Paris Agreement is implemented. And COP15 is the biodiversity COP, which would really be focusing on getting new targets for biodiversity. Next slide, Christina. In this presentation, I'll share some overviews around COP27 and 15 and how we can all create impact and how you can participate in some of the events and activities that our movement will be hosting in these 2 COPs. This COP27 is a packed one. It's a packed one because many things are happening on our planet. We are seeing creation cry out, and we are seeing loss and damage. So loss and damage is basically extreme climate impacts, mostly felt in developing countries, but also in the global north. Earlier on, you saw slides of floods in Nigeria, in Pakistan, and also across the US. Yeah, so there's loss and damage, and there has to be some form of financing to take care of this finance of loss and damage. So this COP would also deal with climate financing, and it is estimated in the recent reports that came out last week, it is estimated that southern countries, the global south, would need at least $300 billion every year to cater for climate-related impacts. Also, we need to be able to have our countries, all our member countries, need to have very high ambitious targets in the national determined contributions, in their national determined contributions. The Paris Agreement has mandated every country to have some form of emission reductions, and these are demonstrated in the national determined contributions. Again, even though the impacts of climate is real, we need to mitigate. We need to mitigate fossil fuels from our planet. So we will be focusing on phasing out fossil fuel and switching to renewable energy. The reports that came out last week are showing that yes, there's a switch to renewable energy, but it's not as fast as enough. And countries are not committing to move away from fossil fuels, which is basically sinking our planet. Again, we need to enhance our sinks, such as forests and oceans, which basically stops out carbon from the atmosphere. Next slide. The Biodiversity COP will be discussing new targets for preserving biodiversity. Those targets will be called the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. Basically, this is an ambitious plan to transform society's relationship with biodiversity and ensure that we live in harmony with nature. Our purpose or our goal in this COP is to make sure that there is no more biodiversity loss engraved in this framework. Some people are promoting a very lower target, but we believe that at this point in time, we need to enhance our sinks and make sure that we do not destroy any more biodiversity. Next slide. As LSM, we will be supporting the efforts of our members who are working on multiple agenda items in both COPs. As I've just explained, there's a multiplicity of agenda items, from loss and damage to ensuring that there's climate financing, to ensure that we have money for adaptation, to ensure that, even the biodiversity targets are very ambitious. LSM, due to capacity constraints, we will focus on mitigation, making sure that we take out fossils in our lifetime. We take out fossils, and also promoting divestments, making sure that the link between climate and biodiversity is recognized, at both COPs, and they're not treated as different because biodiversity and climate are related. Again, we'll be making sure that there's no more biodiversity collapse in both COPs, and making sure that targets which do not reflect these are put out. So really pushing for ambitious targets at both COPs, and putting indigenous people at the center of the conversations as they are the custodians of our planets. Next slide. So some events that will be happening, the global divestment announcement we had one this year. We're planning to have another one. We'll have it next year because we need to ramp up divestment. Divestment basically is removing money from the fossil fuel industry. So we're targeting Catholic institutions across the world to make sure that they can take out their money. Divestment actually will be the main call to action for the letter. So when we have screenings of the letter and we want to take some advocacy action, we will be asking for you to promote divestments with your local institutions, Catholic institutions across the world. Next slide. Again, we have been promoting the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty, and I was really pleased, so amazed by the work that Sylvia shared with us earlier on. As Laudato Si movement, we will be partnering with Green Faith to have an interfaith letter calling for, we have signed it. The Vatican has the Dicastery for Human Development has approved no more a just transition out of fossil fuels. So we will be asking for a non-proliferation letter to go out, signed by interreligious institutions. This will go out on the 2nd of November. Next slide. There is a Global Day of Action on the 12th of November, and we're inviting all our members to take part. It's a mass mobilization calling for social justice. Demonstrations will be taking place across the globe. Details of this will be on our website. The 12th of November falls in the middle of COP27. It falls right smack down in the middle of COP27. So this is a day to ask for social and climate justice. Next slide. With our members, we are also organizing an open dialogue at COP27. This will be on the 17th of November. This open dialogue would basically be sharing what has come out of COP because it's coming out at the tail end. It would feature the letter, but it will also be making a moral argument for more ambitious outcomes of COP27. Next slide. There will be screenings of the letter at COP27. We are so pleased to have been able to secure some space for screenings, which will be targeting negotiators. The first screening will be held on the 11th of November. And this screening will take place in the blue zone. It will be targeting negotiators at this COP to really pull into their hearts and minds to have more ambitious actions, targets for climate. The second screening will take place at the climate action stage. This is outside of the blue zone. This screening will be open to the general public. We're also planning to have a screening to be hosted by the Vatican and the Senegalese government. As you know, the government of Senegal does feature in the movie. At the end of the presentation, there will be an invitation for you to share with your national delegates who would be at COP27 to take part in this screening. Next slide. At the Biodiversity COP, we are also organizing some screenings with our amazing animators in Canada. And there will also be a public screening at the Archdiocese of Montreal, which will be open to the public on the 13th of December. Again, the invitations to this, so we invite you to share these screenings to your delegates who will be attending, to your national delegates and national representatives who will be attending COP15 to attend these screenings. Next slide. And just to note that it's been made possible really largely, the screening in COP15 had been made possible with a lot of collaboration, not just from our Catholic friends and members of our movement, but also from other interreligious members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lin, for this amazing work and for the Catholic presence that we'll have at the upcoming COP. So we'll look forward to hearing more how we all can be involved in these important efforts. So I'll now turn it over to our own Executive Director, Tomas Insua. Whoops. Sorry, Lin, did you want to say something about this before we do that?
Yes, Christina, that was the last slide, which was an invitation. This invitation will be open, it'll be on our website. Basically, you can use it to send an invitation to your delegates to attend the screenings at COP27 and COP15. Thank you. And that's the last word.
Thanks, and what a cool image. So super. So please send this to your national delegates to join the screenings of the letter at the COPs. Okay, so now actually we'll go to Tomas, and there's from Lin sends a thank you with a cute kitty. So welcome, Tomas.
Hi, everybody. Pace bene, peace and all good from Rome. So I'll share a very quick update on the discernment task force that has been set up on identity, structure, and synodality. So next slide, please. So this is, you might recall that a few months ago in July, we announced the intention to kick off a process to further discern how to embrace synodality and strengthen our structures as, let's say, the worldwide LSM. It also in the light of the synod and synodality, and with so much the special kairos in the church, the special moment, the special time in which synodality is being discussed so much and embraced across the church, we're also taking it as a call also for LSM. So some of you might have participated in some of the listening sessions that happened not long ago, and that has, let's say, been feeding into this. There are more details in the blog post of July. But in a nutshell, next slide, please. The goal, so this has been well, it should be mentioned, this is part of the ongoing metamorphosis. You know, some of you might be aware that when we changed our name from GCCM to LSM last year, this image of the metamorphosis of the caterpillar evolving into a butterfly came up quite strongly. And I think this process is continuing. I think that the butterfly is still stepping out from that chrysalis and preparing to beat its wings and fly far and wide. So, and as part of this process, next slide then, as we discern how this butterfly should fly, there are a few, let's say, items that this task force will be discerning. So in a nutshell, there may be, I think it's 5 of them. The first 3 are, the first one is the articulation of LSM's self-understanding of what it means to be an ecclesial lay movement. You know, in the life of the church, there has been growing momentum in the last couple of decades since Vatican II about the role of the laity in the life of the church and the role of these lay movements in particular. So we want to, given we're such a young movement, just dive deeper into what's our theological and spiritual understanding of this, and what are the implications of this self-understanding. What changes are needed, and how do we need to, let's say, set up, and this maybe leads into the next point, what are the structures that are needed to enable this lay movement to flourish, and understanding the lay movement as caretakers of a charism, of a gift from the Holy Spirit to us all. So what are the structures? We do have structures, but there has been always ongoing discernment of what should be the right structures. So, and the third point is also looking into what's these roles and interactions between structures. We have these 3 main bodies, the Secretariat, the Board, and the Global Membership Council, but maybe other structures should be created or changes should be made to existing structures. So next slide, please. Just a quick heads up on the members. This will be similar to the name discernment process in 2020 and 2021. The idea is to somehow mirror that discernment process. So I don't know if you remember, but 2 years ago, when discerning the new name for the movement, there was a central committee or task force that had representatives from the 3 main global bodies. So the Board, the Global Membership Council, and the Secretariat. The idea is to do exactly the same. And it's worth noting that this task force will just be facilitating a process on behalf of supporting the movement to do this discernment process. So it's not that we're delegating it on them. So next slide, please. Here, just a couple of names. I will not read them. You can read them from the screen, but it's a small task force with representatives from those 3 bodies that will be helping us all do this discernment. So next slide, please. And what can you do? First and foremost, pray for the members of this task force that the discernment may bear abundant fruit and may be guided by the Holy Spirit. And number 2, just stay tuned for invitations for input that will come pretty soon on a number of these discernment questions. So we encourage you just to participate actively. As you did for the process of the new name, the idea is to be enriched and guided by the wisdom of the movement across borders. So I think that would be pretty much it. I don't think there's any other slide. Well, yeah, here just a concluding quote as we prepare to undergo this important discernment, just to be reminded of the Pope's words that prayerful discernment must be born of a readiness to listen to the Lord and to others and to reality itself, which always challenge us in new ways. So that's what we're hoping the task force will help us do. So I think that was pretty much the last slide, I think.
Great. Thank you so much, Tomas, for sharing about this important process that we as a whole movement are going through at the moment. So with that, those are our updates. We thought we would leave a little bit of space for any questions, and you can put them in the chat if you have any questions, and then I'll ask Tere and Gabriel to help me for those coming in languages other than English. So any questions or feedback?
Christina, there are a few questions about how to listen the movie in other languages. So if you want, I can share my screen for a moment.
Yes, please.
Let people know. It's very simple. You should go to the YouTube original channel, find the movie, and just click on this button, the setting button, and here is the audio track selection. So you can choose Portuguese, Spanish, English, or French. Italian will be available soon. That's all.
Great. So any other questions about the film, the cups, or anything that was shared? So Teddy, do you want to respond? Can we register if we don't have a date for our screening or program?
Yes, I answered this earlier, but I know it's a lot in the chat. So just to reiterate, yes, it will ask you for a date. The system does ask you for a date. So in that case, we obviously invite you to set a date in the future, a tentative date, and then you can always come back to the system and edit it once you have your actual date. So because when you create it, it does ask you for that. But you can put, December 15th or a date that is tentative, and then come back and edit it. Right, Gabriel? Yeah. Okay.
Great. And Tere, can you help with some of the other questions in Spanish? I see one from Pedro or Anderson.
I'm looking, let's see, Pedro. El curso de formación para animadores se puede tener para impartirlo de manera local y así abrir varios cursos en diferentes momentos. So Pedro's asking about the animators training. Solo para aclarar, Pedro, ¿quiere decir el curso de animadores general o el curso para, creo que sí, ¿verdad? Sí, es una posibilidad que de hecho ya estamos viendo y estamos tratando, como dijimos, en algunos casos estamos haciendo, en Estados Unidos, por ejemplo, ya hicimos cursos en persona, hemos estado como probando esto, entonces creo que sí es una muy buena idea y algo que estamos viendo. So the question was whether we can do animators trainings in a way that it can be localized, like local. And this way we can have various courses throughout the year and at different moments. And so I was saying that, yes, this is something that we have started to experiment with, and that we think is a good idea in order to get more people. So we're working on developing a training of trainers. So where we would train people to give this training to others. So thank you for that question. Pedro,
maybe Gabriel, can you respond to the question from Catarina asking about when materials for how to organize screening will be available?
All the materials regarding the community screenings are available on the website. And when you register your screening, then you will receive an automatic email with a lot of resources to host your screening. So you should just go to the link that Tere shared earlier, register your screen, and you will receive an email with all the information, all the resources.
Great. All right.
So sorry. There's a question by Anderson here about like how can we highlight the event or the things happening in smaller countries. He's sharing, in Guatemala and Salvador, or these different events that happen. I'm assuming, Anderson, que se está refiriendo a los eventos durante el tiempo de la creación. So one thing that we always encourage is for people to register the events on the website, because sometimes it's hard, fortunately there's so much happening during season of creation that it's hard for the secretariat to know about every event that happens. But if people register on the website, then we can always know that way. And I'm sorry, Anderson, siento que no hemos hablado de algunos de los eventos que está mencionando. Quizá podemos trabajar con usted para incluirlos en algunas de las otras comunicaciones que hagamos.
Great. So I think unfortunately we'll have to close here. If there's further questions, invite you to send them to hello@laudatosimovement.org and we will respond to them. But if you're asking for information about the film and resources, encourage you to register at that link that was shared, and we will be sending you further information of resources and other details. So Gabrielle, is there anything else that would be helpful to share before we turn it back over to Marianne about the film?
No, just to let people know, there are an email, it's movie at laudatosimovement.org or hello@laudatosimovement.org, where you can send all your requests. And just to let you know, a new movie website will be ready in a couple of days. So will be more clear and with all the resources more accessible. So just to let you know.
Great. And Gabrielle, can you put that email in the chat for those? Thank you so much. All right, so wonderful to see this engagement, this commitment. It's so inspiring, and we will continue to journey together on the film, on the COP, and then this discernment process. So just stay tuned to your emails and social media, and we'll be sharing more. So back to you, Marianne.
Wonderful. So thank you for that wonderful richness. And I thank everyone who's with us here today. I know we're running a little longer. We had so much we wanted to share with you. So we thank you for staying with us. As a Global Membership Council, one of our traditions at the end of our meeting, our gathering, is we share with one another in the chat. So we're going to open up the screen here so we see everyone. I'm not going to go back to a PowerPoint slide, so we can see everyone and get a sense of our movement across the world. And invite you in the chat to share, name a blessing that you received in this gathering. We had so much sharing today. What insight are you leaving with? What gift did you receive from one of our speakers? We can just share that in the chat, what we're taking away from this time together. So I'm seeing a lot of it, sense of connection and inspiration, hope. Hope, a lot of hope. That's wonderful. Encouragement, inspiring, rejuvenating. We're continuing to walk together. Strength, motivation. Wow, this is just wonderful. I'm glad everyone is feeling so inspired and encouraged from our time together. Closeness, Catholic presence at the COPs. Yes, that's very exciting. Lots of love. Grateful to feel a part of a movement, to be with all these people, wonderful work. And some stress that people weren't able to join in time. Don't worry, we have a recording. It'll be on YouTube, so please do not leave with stress. We want you to leave with hope, love, joy for our movement. So thank you all for sharing all the blessings that we gather and take with us. So we're going to close with sharing the Our Father today. So what I'm going to do is invite our speakers. So I'll invite Doris, Anne Marie, Sister Immaculate, Sylvia, John, Sister Maria Lucia, to come off mute. And so we will have some sharing of the Our Father in the 3 languages today. And then I invite everyone else to stay on mute so we don't have too much of a noise. Everyone else to stay on mute. And we will pray the Our Father together in the language you're most comfortable with. And you'll hear the richness of the languages out loud, and also you'll be praying with us. So I invite us to begin. Our Father,
who art in heaven,
Hallowed
be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us against which is
Perdónanos lo que nos deben de caer en la tentación y líbranos del mal.
unity in diversity. Such a beautiful sound of all of us praying together in our languages. So thank you, everyone. A big thank you to our interpreters for staying with us a little longer than we had expected. A big thank you to Gabrielle, Priscilla, the rest of the communications team for all their work in the background. And thank you to our speakers, and a great thank you to all of you who joined us today. So thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day, a good evening, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next encounter.
Just if everybody would be willing to show their video briefly so we can take a picture of this first global encounter. It's a historic moment. So if you don't mind, just for a moment, if you would like to show your video and also take an opportunity to look around and see these faces from around the globe. Amazing. Imagine we're in every corner of the world. And I know Gabrielle is taking a picture, and you'll let us know when you're done, right, Gabrielle?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you all. You can unmute and say goodbye. God bless everybody.
Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Hasta luego, gracias.
Thank you. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Buenos días.
Bella.
Muito obrigada.
Gracias, paz y bien.
Laudato Si.
Bye.
Luego, bye.
Thank you.